Okay, so there's some stuff I wanted to cover that I skipped over in Peace Walker. Uh, the main reason Big Boss took the job in Nicaragua is because he heard a tape with the voice of the boss. So the main reason John or Naked Snake took the job in Nicaragua was because he heard a tape with the voice of Lori or the boss. Again, I'm just calling her Lori. She never really had a name. Excuse me. Okay, so we're gonna skip the Phantom Pain and we're gonna go on to Metal Gear 1. I apologize because my knowledge of Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2 is not that fantastic, and I'm going to try to just breeze through this. Metal Gear 1, Big Boss, aka John, aka Naked Snake, now has two positions. He works for the CIA as a member of Foxhound, and he works in his own independent mercenary group that he built up in Peace Walker and the Phantom Pain, and uh, that he was still in conjunction with in Ground Zeroes, which is called Outer Heaven. So he's a terrorist in Outer Heaven. He runs a mercenary group of soldiers, and he's the leader of that army. But he also works for the CIA as a member of Foxhound. Now the CIA has learned of Outer Heaven, and they try to send somebody in. Big Boss says he wants to take full control of that operation, and he sends in the young rookie Solid Snake, who is also his clone. Again, his clones were made during the Peace Walker incident, something I skipped over. I apologize. So Solid Snake goes into Outer Heaven. He does his mission. He beats all of Big Boss's henchmen, gets to the nuclear bomb that Big Boss has, and kills him. That's Metal Gear 1. Uh, Metal Gear 2, basically the same story. He fights Gray Fox in a minefield. In Metal Gear 1, he saves Gray Fox. So he fights Gray Fox in a minefield. Gray Fox is dead, kills Big Boss, but not before Big Boss can tell him that he is his father, that Solid Snake is a clone, and that's the end of Metal Gear 2. Metal Gear Solid, of course, the classic. Snake gets out of retirement because he hears that there's a nuke and a group of renegade terrorists called Outer Haven, led by Liquid Snake, which looks exactly like Solid Snake. It's a clone of him, which is also a clone of Big Boss. So Solid goes into Alaska, destroys a bunch of henchmen, meets his colonel's niece named Meryl. Meryl gets kidnapped. Before the entire mission, he meets Mei Ling and Naomi Campbell. Naomi Campbell's the scientist. Mei Ling is the technology expert. She gives Snake all of this fancy gadgets. Naomi injects him with some stuff, like so that he won't get cold or something. Snake beats all the henchmen, runs into Gray Fox, who's now wearing an exoskeleton suit. He's a robot cyborg ninja thing. Snake beats him again, finds Liquid Snake. Liquid Snake tells Snake that they're brothers and they're both clones of Big Boss, so Snake finds out more about his past. Fights Liquid Snake on top of the Metal Gear after they destroy it with some help from Gray Fox, who dies. And gives a great speech about how he met Naomi Campbell, who's the scientist, about how he murdered her parents, but didn't have the heart to murder her. They fight on top of the thing. Snake kills Liquid. Uh-oh, Liquid's not dead. Comes back. You jump on top of like this SUV. You have a Gatling gun. You shoot at Liquid while you're driving through this hallway thing, and then Liquid almost dies, but he doesn't. He gets back up, and then he says Fox die, which is the same thing that everybody Snake has come in contact with has died with in Metal Gear Solid 1, which is called Fox die. So then you find out that one of the shots Naomi gave you was containing this virus, which Solid Snake is now infected with, which kills anybody that's in his general vicinity. So Solid Snake has about 10 years to live. The CIA poisoned him, and that's the end of MGS1. MGS2, Snake and Otacon, who you find in MGS1, and he also saves Meryl. By the way, he saves Meryl at the end of MGS1. So Snake and Otacon now have this group called Philanthropy, and their whole thing is they want to destroy Metal Gears. So they found out that some U.S. naval base has a Metal Gear. They get on a tanker. They take pictures of the tanker. They want to put it on the internet so that everybody could see that there's a Metal Gear. The tanker gets disrupted by Ocelot, who was also in Metal Gear Solid 3, and one of the henchmen in Metal Gear Solid 1. Ocelot takes the Metal Gear for himself. The tanker drowns. Not before Solid Snake could kill Ogor Kalukovich. Okay, that's important. So then the tanker drowns. Snake disappears. Fast forward a few years, we're in this place called the Big Shell, and the Vulcan Raven. I'm remembering one of the bosses. The henchmen in Metal Gear Solid 2 are called Dead Cell. They're all basically clones of Metal Gear Solid 1. You play as Snake, but it's not Solid Snake. It's this new Snake, codename Snake. That's the codename, by the way. And this guy's name is Raiden. Raiden has his girlfriend on the support team. Colonel Campbell is also his colonel for this mission. He runs into Iruski Pliskin, who, surprise, Solid Snake's still alive. He defeats all of the members of Dead Cell, gets rid of all the henchmen, finds out that their leader is Solid Snake, who's the third clone of Big Boss. I'm a little iffy on that, and I'll explain why later. So he rescues Otacon's sister. Otacon's sister dies. Then he fights like a vampire and all this crazy stuff, and then he destroys them all. Then there's like a fight with like 20,000 Metal Gears. He destroys them all. Then he fights Solid Snake on top of the Empire State Building in New York, in Manhattan. Defeats him, and then Solid Snake shows up, and they have this huge epiphany about what the video game meant, because during the last hour or so of the video game kept reminding you that you were playing a video game, and told you to turn off the console, and did a lot of stuff with as far as fourth wall breaks are concerned. Let you know that the game was all artificial intelligence, let you know that the enemies weren't real, let you know that the story was just a story, just let you know all this crazy stuff. And it was very interesting. So that was Metal Gear Solid 2. I'll be saving Metal Gear Solid 4 for tomorrow. There's some kids next doors who are like just having a ball today, and I can't really concentrate. But that's the gist of it up until Metal Gear Solid 4. I'll be discussing Metal Gear Solid 4 tomorrow. We're at 9 days away now. 9 days away. I like to think of Metal Gear Solid 2 as a direct copy of Metal Gear Solid 1. I'm not sure if that was because Kojima was out of ideas, but it's considered the first postmodern video game, and it's genius. There's so many small things that I could nitpick, like when Rose tells Raiden that his room was empty. I take that as a metaphor for Kojima's mind, like he was just out of ideas. So he redid Metal Gear Solid 1, and he redid it excellently, but he made it so that it was a game telling you about the game of Metal Gear Solid 1. So it's postmodern in that aspect, because it's a story about a story, and that's as artistic as it gets for nowadays. And really genius, really good stuff. That was Metal Gear Solid 2. I'll be discussing 4 tomorrow. V for victory. I want to stop this before it cancels. V for victory.